Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So today what I'm doing is laying down my guide tracks. So this whole one-man band operation, you have to have something to play to. And so what I do is I basically, with my close attention to the metronome and setting up the beats per minute, which for one of these songs is 140 and for the other song it's 120, I will closely follow that metronome and then play the song exactly as it's going to be played, the exact arrangement. That can't be altered, of course. And I'll be playing it, basically like the way I'd play it if I was tracking the guitars. And I'm going to play along to the beat and get through the entire song so that as a drummer, I can hear all the, turnarounds and everything, get on beat. And I'll also be playing to beat, I'll have the flashing light for me, when I'm drumming as well. But as long as the guitar has been laid down and it's not off beat, everything should work perfectly. And that'll become my new guide. As opposed to having a click track, I'll have this guitar track. And then once I get the drums recorded, I no longer need this guitar track. I mean, it could be buried in there somewhere if you really wanted to, but now you just track the the guitars on top of it, the bass, vocals, etc. So this is really the first step in getting on your way to doing this sort of one-man band thing, at least if you do it the way I'm doing it. So the first step is I have the song, right? So I've got two songs. One of them is an older song, one of them is a brand new song. And the older one I already kind of have the arrangement down, but I need to make sure I'm doing it correctly. The new one, I've come up with the arrangement, the one that I think makes the most sense for the song. But that's basically set at this point. So now I'm going to write the lyrics down. So I've got both songs, I wrote the lyrics down. And this is important, to make sure that you're not missing something, like something that you would take for granted. Once you start doing this tracking thing, you may miss a whole verse or a bridge or not play it enough times if you don't have the song kind of mapped out in front of you, and making sure you're not missing something, because there's little nuances in your arrangement or whatever. So I usually write the lyrics out and get everything set up in front of me so that I'm basically like following along. Wait, that's not the song that I wanted to. I may not have those lyrics written down yet for some reason. Yeah, I don't, because I don't have the lyrics yet. This is the lyrics for the other song I'm tracking. Okay, so I've got to write all those lyrics out. And I only have one verse on that song. But regardless, I knew, I had my arrangement together and I'm following it closely. The other main thing that you have to do in order to make this work is you have to stay on beat. And so the first thing that I would really do if I'm setting this up is I'm going to determine for this song, the song's called Donut City, and I play it at 120 beats per minute. So in order to get the machine will read what you're doing, but if you go over here, it says tempo, and there's a square button right underneath tempo. You're going to hit that, and it says 120, and because I set it there. Now when you go there, you can use the flywheel to go back and forth and set whatever you want. I'm going to leave mine at 120 and exit out. But that's how you set it up. And then once you start playing, like if you hit record play or just play, that metronome will start flashing. And I used to listen, and you can go in to the metronome by going to Tool. So you go to Tool and you go to Metronome, which is the first option. And then here you have all the options. You can have it on or off. I've got it off because I don't want to hear it. Then you have the level. You can pan it. You can change the sound. I've got it set on bell. You can put a pre-count. I took that off. So basically all I'm using the metronome for is this flashing light, but as you can see, you can turn it on and have it click as well, or whatever kind of sounds you want. I have it like a click and then a bell on the one, but I don't typically turn that on because it distracts me when I'm drumming, it distracts me when I'm playing the guitar. I'd rather just have the rhythm and everything in my head, and I'm following the light, and I'm making sure that the ones are landing on that light, and I'm staying in time or on beat. So that's step one. It's just to determine the BPM of the song. For this one, like I said, it's going to be 120, and then and you determine and you set that by hitting this button, this switch underneath tempo, and you can also get more into the metronome by going to Tool. Okay, so next step, I'm going to arm track 1. And I'm going to plug directly, the guitar goes directly in there. These kind of get slippery. I've had some people say theirs are so tight they can hardly get things out of it. This one's slippery for me. So what you can do is do like a balance cable that goes in, you know, more like a mic cable for your guitar, like a special cable you make just for the guitar. I've had people suggest that. I think it's a really good idea. I've never had too much trouble with it slipping out, but I am aware of it being kind of capable of being loose. Okay, then the high Z switch is going to be on because I'm getting a low level signal from a unamplified source. I don't have any kind of batteries or in here. It's not an active circuit, so it's just, you know, it's very, it's putting out a micro signal into something like this. My amplifier, a whole different story, but one of these things you need to have that on just to give you a little extra upfront gain. Okay, and then I've got my power, my channel strip at 100. The light is engaged. Nothing happens without that light engaged, and you just do that by punching the button. Now, I found this interesting. In order to get kind of the feel of my amplifier, you know, I want to feel like I'm rocking with my kind of tone, I went over to Effect, and they're dirty tones, you know, some of those can be okay, but I chose a clean one. So if you go to the algorithm clean, and then you make your way down to the patch, I chose number 3, Vox Crunch. Has kind of a British vibe, you know, and I think they have a Vox in the dirty section too, but I just found this one to sound better for the rhythm. And then if you go to the edit section, there's all kinds of things you can have fun with, which I think is, you know, really cool. So the first thing I'm seeing on my screen, and it could be different depending on, you know, what you, if you've used it or what you've got your machine set on, but I was goofing around with this, so it's sitting on right now it happens to be sitting on the EQ. So let me just show you how you can affect the tone of these Sims, you know, and make them sound more like what you're looking for out of your amp. Okay, so right now the bass is on 1, so watch this. I'm going to go to 5 on the bass and listen to the difference. Roll it back off again. So that makes a major difference. Then you have low mids. That give you kind of the mid-range, the low side of the mid-range, sticking that up. Significantly changes the tone. I'm going to go back to 2 because I like that where it was. And then the middle's on 5. If you go to 0, listen to the difference. Less gain, just less mid-range means less prominence. Watch this, I'll crank it up to 10. And not only does it get more prominent, but you get that weird sound. That strange kind of growl that some people will really push, other people will pull away from. Gets more focused and just weird. So I'm going to go back to 5. I think they had the right amount of middle in there. Then you have treble. Let's push that up to 5. Wait, let me just show you 1. That's where they have it set. 5. Didn't make a huge difference. I'm going to leave it up. Presence, it's on 3. Harmonics 4. I'm going to just leave them on 4. Didn't do much. Level, you can always turn it up. It's turned up enough. Okay, then we have, you can mess around with the reverb, the amount of reverb. Let's see what that does. There's decay. I'm going to go up, double it. I'll go up to 18. That was on 9. Or it's on 17 now. 3 delays on 5. We'll go higher. Tone. I'm going to go back on everything. I don't need to adjust that as it turns out. None of that's doing anything to help. Patch level's 21, ZNR is 9. I'll leave it where it is. Compressor, I don't ever mess with that. So anyway, oh, and one last thing that I think is really fun. Then you have type. You can have it on VX combo, UX combo. Okay, watch this. This is V box combo. Watch, we'll change it to US Blues. So maybe you go from like an EL84 and EL34 tube or valve for the British thing, and we go to US Blues, and we go to like 6L6, C6V6, that kind of tone, that bigger bottle sound. That's also, if it's cranked, it has more of a gritty tone. There's the crunch, that's the next one's crunch. That's stack. Okay, and then you have crunch. And then drive. It goes on forever, so I'm going to go back to the original thing I had, which was just the combo. And then you can increase gain, you can increase tone, and then you can also mess with this cabinet, which I found fascinating. So this is matched. That's combo. You can tell it gets smaller, it's like one speaker versus having a couple. Here's matched. Here's combo. Now let's go to tweed. Stack. So I'll just go back to matched. Because it's a pretty good patch right out of the gate. Alright, now, after messing around with all that and getting a tone, and I think that helps, you know, to get a tone that you can get behind, and like on my headphones, I can feel it roaring, you know, like it's taking off. Okay, so, with all that set up, I've got the tone I want, I got this, I got that. Next up, with the track armed, I'm going to hit record play, and I'm going to start tracking. I've already tracked this, I'm not going to actually do that. I'll play it back for you, but I'll just show you how it starts. So,
1, 2,
that's me talking. Let me get rid of the track so you won't hear it. Oh wait, I can't do that because you'll just hear it. Alright, so I'm just going to play it back, but this is what happened. This is what I'm doing. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not that worried about levels because this isn't a track I'm going to use, so I'm not super concerned about that, but I do have the channel strip at 100 and the gain at like, I don't know, 9 or 10. So this song, I would hit play, record play, watch my metronome, and I have a count in. So I've got myself counting in, and you'll hear that voice going. And the way I did that is I armed track 8, turned on the mic, their internal mics that they have for the unit, and just had that running the whole time, so you hear my voice go 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so once I hit play, I have that count off, and then I just start following the metronome. And luckily I wasn't tracking because I hit the wrong chord. Alright, so let me just play that for you real quick so you can hear what I did. Wait, let me hit the, take it out of, I'll put it in playback mode.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So as you can see, it's quite simple. It's just chords, but it's at 120, so it's way faster than I was playing it earlier. In fact, let me just play with it for a second. And now you can hear the mic of me leaving that external mic on. Okay, and so so that's not a great. I hit like hit the muff the note. It's like, but as long as you're able to follow the beat with the drums, you don't have to worry about every little bit of the guitar being great. Okay, so that was Donut City. Now I have another one called Downed. So the way I'm going to get out of that and show you Downed is I'm going to go to Project, which will save what we've done here. I haven't done anything new, but if I had, and I didn't want to lose it, by hitting Project, it saves it. Okay, then I'm going to go to Select, and I'll just go to Downed. And then same thing here. I'll play that back so you can hear the same thing. This one's 120. I mean 140. That was 120. Okay, so and the interesting thing on this one is this one goes like I'll show you. It opens. It's like so you just have this whole note for like 8 count. It's like a full measure. It's an empty void, but you can embrace the darkness. So that first thing has that moment, where you're like, you're staying on beat. And then what I do is I just sing so that I can know for sure that's when I do the change. So it's like, it's an empty void, but you can. And that's what I did. You'll hear me singing along with it. Watch. I turned up that.
1, 2, 3.
It's right there.
4. Void, but you can.
And see, I didn't have to do it on the next go round because I'm not playing that whole note anymore. It was just the whole note. It's an empty void, but you can. So anyway, those 2 songs. And this one I did the exact same thing. I put this one on 140. All the levels were exactly the same. And I even goofed around with the effect and decided, I think this might have been the song that I decided that was what I wanted to do with the effect. Just make a few little tweaks to make it sound more like this amp. And I mean, it doesn't in any way, but it's like it's a representation of it, especially for like this whole guide track thing, which is completely disposable, but extremely essential. You have to have it right. You have to have it on mainly on beat. That's all that's important. It doesn't have to be like super well played. Like I said, as long as it's on beat, like the notes could be muffed or whatever, just not executed that well. As long as everything is happening on beat and it doesn't cause you, some sort of consternation as you're drumming, because I want that to just flow and be like a Zen thing. We're not even thinking. And if something's causing, consternation, it's like, oh Lord, just makes everything so much harder. Okay, so hopefully that all made sense, and those of you who are attempting to do this will see that it's a doable thing, and it's just one step at a time. Just making sure, really just making sure to have your BPM, your time down, to make sure that your tempo is set, your arrangement is set, you're confident about what you've set up, and then you just do each step. And if I'm not a perfect player type, obviously more like a punk rock kind of guy. And so I'm trying to, play better. It's not like I'm accepting that as my fate, but I also recognize I'm not one of those like super players. So I just try to keep it clean, try to keep it as basic as I can, within my ability level, and I follow that flashing red light. All right, so if there's anything I can do for anyone out there, if you have any questions, having trouble with the Zoom or feeling bummed on how to, make something work, just reach out, because I've probably been there, and had a similar situation to yours, and I would love to assist you. and help you out so that you can have a flourishing career as a Zoom R24 recordist. All right, next time.